we're going to do a reaction to a Tom MacDonald song that I have actually listened to before, only like once or twice though. So I'm excited to kind of go through it slowly and break it down and everything. But this is one of my favorites that kind of got me started on this whole journey of listening to and reacting to his stuff. This is The Devil is a Democrat.
The propaganda is on every channel. They think we stupid like the truth is just too hard to handle. Put on your camo, it's a culture war and load the ammo. They want Antifa ruling everything like it's Seattle.
I mean, that beginning just gets it for me every time. The propaganda is on every channel. It certainly is. They think we stupid like the truth is just too hard to handle. My son actually knows the words of this song. Because he had me put on one of his playlists. They want Antifa ruling everything like in Seattle, man. As someone who was living in Seattle, running a region of stores all throughout Seattle during the Antifa riots, it was pretty crazy that they just let them take over a good chunk of the city. And I really don't see how Washington State and the federal government can come to terms with the fact that that small group of protesters, which is really, I mean, it's a tiny, tiny little morsel of people. Somehow their right to protest by taking over part of the town supersedes everyone else's right to life, liberty, safety, pursuit of happiness, getting to their work safely, driving their car down the road. If anyone can answer that one for me, I'd love to hear it.
They want anyone who's fighting to be dead and canceled. They want rainbows in the classrooms and 15 different bathrooms and white guys that hate black dudes.
Yep.
They want war, they don't want peace. They want fentanyl in our streets. They want borders to be weak. I swear the devil lives in California. He a politician. He passing bills that bring chaos and division. Yeah, the devil lives in California. Should be in prison. He got horns, but he tries to keep them hidden. Cause the devil is a Democrat. And we don't play that. They say that. They love America. We know it ain't that. Cause the devil is a Democrat. And
he just spits so much good stuff in this song, like talking about dividing the races to get us to hate one another and stuff like that. And it's so true because they absolutely do. And they do it in ways that you don't expect. They do it in things like this SAVE Act, totally reasonable idea that you got to show your ID to vote and prove you're a citizen. But then they have people come out and say, well, no, we can't do that because it's racist, because Black and brown people are too dumb to figure out how to get an ID. And so then it's like, well, if you want to support voter ID, then you're somehow racist. But if you're the one calling voter ID racist, aren't you really more racist by saying that Black and brown people are just too illiterate and uneducated to be able to get their ass to a DMV and get an ID, even though like the polls show 80% of them are in favor of voter ID laws? Like they artificially make these wedges. Like there is differences between cultures, and there is cultures that are cohesive together and not cohesive together. I don't think it really falls along racial lines, to be honest. It's cultural lines. I will have much more in common with a Black guy from Oregon than I would with a white Muslim from Iran. And there's plenty of guys in Iran that look as white as me. So like the whole idea of it being this race thing is just a fake construct to dumb things down, to bring up agitation and anger and tribalism off of not using words, but only what we can visually see. Like it's pretty crazy. And it's so prevalent. And I just don't understand why people keep falling for it over and over and over.
we ain't with it, we ain't switching. Y'all are tripping. I guess God just built us different. They get celebrities to do they talking. They get mansions while they cram us all into apartments. Tell us it's cool to stay in school and then make you retarded. If you ain't liberal, then they treat you like you human garbage. If you speak up, then you a target.
I mean, this again, dude, like the last few words here. I mean, not to mention visually beautiful music video.
While they cram us all into apartments. Tell us it's cool to stay in.
They want to cram us all into apartments, tell us it's cool to
and
stay
then
in
make
school,
you retarded.
then
If
make
you ain't
you
liberal, then
retarded.
they treat you like you human garbage.
If you ain't liberal, then they treat you like you're human garbage.
If you speak up, then you a target.
If you speak up, then you're a target. And I mean, I've lived all this stuff, right? And I know many of you guys have too. And big influencers, small influencers, regular people. The propaganda and the brainwashing is so heavy. And you meet people all the time that they've gotten isolated from their friends and family because of viewpoints that aren't even that extreme. Like, it doesn't make any sense. But they built this entire machine to push people into this slave mindset that really only works and propagates underneath the liberal ideology. It used to work really well under the conservative ideology. I think Trump has moved a lot of the conservative viewpoints, but if you go back to like the 80s and 90s, it's almost a reverse of today in some ways, where the Democrats were the party that was trying to break out, and the Republicans were the establishment that just wanted you to, go to work, go to school, get a job, blah, 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 follow your path, follow the American dream. And it would be great if that stuff worked, except they dismantled it all while we were in the process of it. And so now they've had to infect people with this mind virus of social justice causes because they have an absence of God and family and love and security. So they have to search for that validation through social causes and by being seen as a good person morally because they have the right flags in their Twitter bio. It's ridiculous, man.
They want their voice through an amplifier. Violence and our flag on fire. No voter ID required. They want war, they don't want peace. They want defund the police. They want you surrounded by screens. The devil lives in California.
And not to stop it again, but the whole, they want war, they don't want peace. Like that point is so evident today when you look at like what's going on with the operation in Iran and how hard the Democrats are trying to stop Trump. Trump took out the Maduro regime in basically like a week. Iraq is looking like it's going to be like basically a month. These are conflicts that are more difficult than what they spent 20 years doing in Afghanistan, all right? Like Iran is way more of a powerhouse than Afghanistan, and he's almost wiped them out completely in a week. They don't want the world peace, right? You can't have these crazy Looney Tunes characters running countries, singing Death to America every day in their house of government and expect there to ever be peace. All it's going to be is different escalations of wars throughout the years. That's why Trump kind of just put an end to it. Some of y'all can say, oh, it's Mossad and Israel and this, that, and the other thing. Like, who gives a crap, honestly? If Mossad and Israel want Iran gone, I'm sure they do. Two things can be true at once, my friend. It is the right thing to do either way to knock out that regime, hopefully install some kind of democratic republic there that hopefully doesn't go the way of Palestine and vote into power someone like Hamas. But, at least then we will give them that opportunity. I think Iran, a lot stronger than that. I've known a lot of Iranians, had their families get exiled here when the Islamic regime took over. I think it is 100% the right decision to squash that to avoid more war. If you got the kid in school that likes to fight everybody, the way you stop the fights is to remove that kid. Like, it's simple. If you got one kid that started fights every day with different people in class and you're trying to cut down the number of fights, you don't say, oh, no, now we should yell at the kids that fight back against him and punish everybody equally and blah, blah. No, you take the kid out of the class that's starting the fights with everybody. It's real obvious.
Politician.
But they don't want that. They want the wars to keep going.
Chaos and division. Yeah, the devil lives in California. Should be in prison. He got horns, but he tries to keep them hidden. Cause the devil is a Democrat. And we don't play that. They say that. They love America. We know it ain't that. Cause the devil is a Democrat. And we ain't with it. We ain't switching. Y'all are tripping. I guess God just built us different, dog. The devil is a Democrat. That's a fact. That's the truth. Look how bad that it gets when it's blue. The devil is a Democrat. That's a rap, it ain't news. And the way they treat America is proof. I swear the devil lives in California, $100 bills. He knows everyone in Hollywood and parties in the hills. Give you everything you ever wanted, plus a couple mil for your soul, and your vote is a deal. Cause the devil is a Democrat. And we don't play that, they say that. They love America, we know it ain't that. Cause the devil is a Democrat. And we ain't with it, we ain't switching. Y'all are tripping, I guess God just built us different, dog. The devil is a Democrat. And we we don't play that. They say that they love America, we know it ain't that. 'Cause the devil is a Democrat, and we ain't with it, we ain't switching. Y'all are tripping, I guess God just built us different, dog. The devil is a Democrat.
Another great video, man. I love his visuals so much in his music videos. Just like this, the idea of having a projector with the American flag over him, with the dark background, that's so cool. But I think it's real apparent that the devil in current form is, in fact, running the Democratic Party. I think evil is highly influenced in that. Doesn't mean that'll always be the case. All right, for any of you younger guys, like I said, I mean, when I was young and growing up, the Republicans were doing a lot of nasty stuff that looked more like the Democrats nowadays. I think the Democrats, especially in the late 90s, throughout the early 2000s, fostered a tremendous amount of governmental control between the stuff that the Obama administration did with the NSA and Homeland Security, all the judicial appointments that they did, and rebuilding the law enforcement to be kind of geared towards Democrats. They did a lot of stuff to really garner power, and evil is attracted to that power, right? So if we find ourselves in 10, 20 years in a position where the Republicans have taken over the majority of the power in the country and can pretty much enact whatever they want, don't be surprised if that same evil, the same type of demonic corruption that you can see so prevalently in the Democratic Party currently, I wouldn't be surprised if you don't see that same stuff in the Republican side. You already can in a lot of cases, it being such a demonstrably large part of their position being just straight evil, which, I mean, most of the things that the Democratic Party is really driven around right now are anti-human and anti-God and anti-society, and they're just demonic. Nothing else you can really say about it. It's pure evil. So, song's very justified in my opinion, but we'll see 5-10 years down the road. That's why it's important to fight for truth, fight for honesty, fight for justice, not for red or blue or left or right or this position on this issue or that issue, but to fight for what's real and what's true and what's honest. That's what we should all stay circled around and motivated around. But let's get back to work, guys. Keep praying. I'll see you in the next one.